Scorpio, pause whatever you're doing and just breathe with me for a moment. If this message reached you, it's not random background noise from the algorithm. Something in your energy, in your timing, in your quiet hopes, pulled this in front of your eyes. December 6th is not just another square on a calendar, not just another cold date floating in time. It's a pressure point in your story, a hidden hinge where 5 blessings begin to line up at once. Not politely, not one by one, but overlapping, colliding, arriving together like a wave that's been gathering for months beneath the surface. Most people will stroll through that day like it's nothing special. But you, Scorpio, you feel things before they have language. If your chest feels a little tight right now, if your body is leaning in without you even deciding to, that's your spirit recognizing a door it's seen before in dreams. You've been living between worlds lately, standing on the fault line between the life you've outgrown and the one you can sense but not fully see. One part of you is still tied to old cycles, to familiar pain, to stories you know how to carry even when they hurt. The other part of you is already walking ahead, already rearranging itself to match a version of you that sleeps better, loves softer, receives more easily. December 6th is when that invisible border stops being theory and starts being real. The atmosphere around you will feel strange, like the room has subtly rearranged itself, like something is waiting just outside your field of vision. You might not know why, but you'll feel it. A sense of quiet urgency, an odd stillness before a shift, a soft but undeniable pull to pay attention. That feeling is not anxiety, it's alignment. It's the cosmos tapping you on the shoulder and saying, look here, this is where it begins. The first blessing that rises on this date isn't money, isn't romance, isn't anything you can hold in your hands. It's emotional release, the kind that doesn't knock loudly but changes everything anyway. For months now, you've been carrying feelings that never fully belonged to you, worry that attached itself to your chest like a weight, guilt that crept in because you assumed everything breaking around you must somehow be your fault, disappointment from people who didn't know how to hold your depth and made their limits your problem. You replayed conversations in your head long after they ended. You tried to understand silence that never came with explanations. You blamed yourself for storms you didn't create. On December 6th, something begins to loosen. You might wake up feeling a little different and not know why. Maybe your mind is quieter. Maybe the heaviness you've grown used to feels just a fraction lighter. Maybe you feel less attached to an old story you've been repeating to yourself for too long. That's not you getting over it suddenly. That's old energy finally releasing its grip. On this day or around it, something small but meaningful will happen that confirms this emotional shift. A truth that used to sting will stop hurting the same way. A memory that once made your stomach twist will pass through your mind like a cloud instead of a storm. The echo of someone's voice that used to haunt you will begin to fade, and in its place there's quiet. Your tears might come easier, but they'll feel clean, not desperate. Or you might realize you simply don't have the energy anymore to keep begging the past to behave differently. That's your first blessing, your heart stepping out of self-blame and into self-recognition. The realization that you were never too much or not enough. You were the one who loved fully in a world terrified of honesty. And once you see that clearly, the chains that kept you looping back into old pain begin to fall away. The second blessing that approaches you around December 6th slips in through the material world. It arrives through the language of money, opportunity, and movement. You may have been in a weird space with finances lately. Money in, money out, unexpected expenses, delays that made you wonder if the universe forgot your address. Behind the scenes, though, something has been adjusting. Energetic blocks you couldn't see have been shifting piece by piece. On or around this date, you're likely to experience a change in the flow. It may not be a giant lottery moment, but it feels like a crack in the wall where light finally gets in. Maybe a payment you had written off suddenly clears. Maybe an offer appears that pays more than you planned for. Maybe a new path for income is quietly presented to you in a conversation, a random email, a sudden idea that refuses to let go. However it arrives, it carries a message. Your energy around receiving is changing. This blessing may come connected to a person or situation that once triggered doubt in you. Someone who previously underestimated you now needs your skills, your insight, your presence. A past connection circles back with something tangible to offer, not just words, or an institution, employer, or system that once dragged its feet finally moves in your favor. There might still be a trace of discomfort around it. Your intuition may say, "I don't fully trust you, but I trust the timing." That's okay. The important thing is to remember this. The money or opportunity is not their power over you. It's proof that your energy is attracting what your heart has long been prepared to steward. They are just the delivery channel. You are the origin point of the shift. When this blessing lands, notice how your nervous system responds. You might feel your fear of instability begin to soften. You might catch yourself planning instead of panicking. You might feel, deep down, maybe I really am stepping out of survival mode. That quiet confidence, that's part of the wealth art. The third blessing touches your heart space in a different way. This is the blessing of aligned connection. Somewhere in your orbit, someone has been waking up to the truth of who you are and what you mean to them. It might not be a grand romantic confession right now. It might not even be words, but they've started seeing you clearly in a way they didn't let themselves see before. Someone who once treated your presence as a convenience now realizes your absence would be a loss. Someone who once hesitated to stand beside you now finds themselves defending your name when you're not around. Quietly, instinctively, they protect the space you hold because it finally dawns on them that what you bring is rare. Around December 6th, you may notice subtle signals, longer eye contact, more thoughtful messages, a softness in their tone, an unexpected check-in on a day you didn't expect to hear from them. You might see signs in the digital world, a person who never engaged with your posts suddenly watching every story, liking old content, circling closer. Or you might feel it simply as a sudden warmth, a peace in your chest when you think of them, as if the tension that once defined the connection is dissolving. This blessing is not about you chasing anyone, not about resurrecting what's meant to stay gone. It's about balance finally beginning to form where you've been overgiving. It's about reciprocity returning after a long winter of one-sided effort. You're no longer the only one reaching, hoping, carrying the emotional weight. Someone else is beginning to step toward you with intention, even if their steps are small at first. And in that shift, you're reminded that you deserve bonds where you are not just useful or intriguing, you are cherished. The fourth blessing is the one that may sting before it feels like grace, the path clearing. You felt it already, the strange behavior from someone who claims to care, the slight tension in their smile when things go well for you, the way they change the subject when you share a win, the questions they ask that feel less like curiosity and more like they're keeping tabs on your progress. Your intuition has been whispering, something is off, even when your mind tried to argue they would never. On or around December 6th, a small moment will crack that doubt wide open. A comment slips out that reveals their true feelings. A reaction is too sharp, too quick, too unguarded. A piece of information finds its way to you, or you simply catch a look in their eyes that tells you everything you need to know. In that instant, the puzzle pieces you've been holding with no picture start to lock into place. You see that this person was always more comfortable with your struggle than with your victory. They liked you better when you were smaller, more unsure, more dependent. The realization may ache. You might feel betrayed, disappointed, or tired, but beneath that, another sensation rises. Relief. The universe has been trying to unhook you from this energy for some time, sending you little signs, uneasy feelings, small red flags. This is simply the moment where you can no longer pretend not to see. When that clarity hits, don't fight to keep them close. Don't waste your breath convincing someone to be honest when they've chosen masks for this long. Instead, let the truth stand. Step back in dignity. Even if you only release them in your spirit, the road in front of you will open in ways you can physically feel. Sleep gets deeper. Your thoughts feel less crowded. New opportunities and people begin to appear, as if they were waiting just outside the doorway this person was blocking. Losing someone with hidden intentions is not a loss. It's the final sweep before your blessings land. The fifth blessing, Scorpio, is the one that threads through all the others: spiritual calling. On December 6th, or in the energetic echo around it, something in you quietly decides, I'm done living on repeat. It might be a moment alone in your room, a quiet walk, a drive in silence, or even while you're doing something simple like washing dishes. Suddenly, the timeline of your life feels different. You glimpse a future version of yourself, steadier, freer, more grounded, almost like a memory you haven't lived yet. You sense that you are not here just to survive days and patch up other people's storms. You are here to build something, to embody something, to walk a path that feels like it was carved to fit your soul. You might feel a pull toward a specific work, a project, a creative path, a move, a shift in lifestyle that brings your outer life closer to your inner truth. You might feel the urge to learn something new that has been calling you from the edges of your awareness, or you simply feel an inner vow rise up. I will not abandon myself again. That moment is the spiritual spine of all five blessings. The emotional release, the financial shift, the connection shifting, the clearing of false energy, each one is positioning you to answer this deeper call. The cosmos is not pushing you into pressure, it's inviting you into alignment. On this day, life is not demanding perfection from you, it's asking for your yes. So what do you do with all of this? You don't have to sprint. You don't have to force outcomes or obsess over every minute of December 6th. Your task is simpler and more powerful. Pay attention. Stay present with your own inner weather. Notice where your body relaxes and where it tenses. Notice what conversations feel nourishing and which ones leave you drained. Notice what opportunities give you that quiet, sacred excitement and which ones only feed your fear. And then take one real step, just one, in the direction of what feels like truth. That step might be writing down what you truly want your life to look like over the next year. It might be sending a message that needs to be sent. It might be finally saying no. It might be starting the thing you've only talked about in your head. If your soul is whispering, "This is for me," as you listen, anchor it into the physical world. Type in the comments, "I welcome my 5 blessings," or "I answer the call of the cosmos." Not for me, not for anyone else's approval, but as a way of saying to the universe, I'm awake, I'm listening, I'm ready. When you name what resonates, you tie a thread between your present self and the version of you who has already walked through this portal and come out stronger. Every word you speak in alignment becomes a small spell of remembrance, a way of telling your future, I was there when it began, I chose this with you. And as we stand here together in this energy, Scorpio, let this be a gentle reminder wrapped inside all these prophecies. This story is a symbolic mirror, not a rigid script carved in stone. What you're hearing now is a spiritual reflection, a possible path, a meditation on the kind of transformation your soul is capable of inviting in. It's not a legal promise, not financial advice, not a guarantee that the universe will move exactly on your timeline or in the form your mind expects. These words are here to awaken, not to control. If every line doesn't match your reality, that's okay. Take the parts that ring true in your bones and let the rest drift by like clouds that were never meant to rain on your field. Let this message be a reminder of the power you already carry, the intuition that already speaks inside you, the capacity you have to co-create change through belief, aligned choice, and consistent action. You are not here as a passive recipient of fate. You are a collaborator with it. The cosmos may open doors, but you are still the one who chooses to walk through. December 6th does not come to save you. It comes to mirror back how ready you are to save yourself. The 5 blessings arriving are less about outside gifts and more about the alignment within you that finally allows those gifts to land. Emotional freedom, financial momentum, honest connection, clearer paths, a soul-level calling you can no longer ignore. That is the symphony the universe is tuning around you. So as that day approaches, hold your head a little higher. Treat your intuition like the sacred instrument it is. Speak kindly to yourself, even when old fears rise, and remember, you don't have to see the entire staircase lit up to take the first step. All you need is enough light for the ground beneath your feet right now. The rest will appear as you move. If you feel this truth humming through you, let your spirit answer it. Whisper it out loud, write it down, breathe it into your next decision. I am ready to receive what is aligned. I am ready to release what is not. I am ready for my life to finally match my soul. The cosmos is calling, Scorpio. December 6th is your invitation. What you do with it becomes your next chapter.